يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصي. Are we going live?
نعم.
نعم مرحبا أهلا أهلا وسهلا. بسم الله. 1 second. I'll just share it myself. يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي وبعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone who's joined us. Unfortunately, we've had to be off for a few weeks, and so we didn't get a chance to do our Christmas special, particularly for Adib. Adib's online, and he's been asking for this Christmas special and the New Year special. So we may convert this and make this into a Christmas special. But Dr. Jawad Saab, what do you reckon of the beard? What do you reckon? Can't hear you.
Alhamdulillah, it's looking good. Alhamdulillah, you're rolling back the years.
I'm gonna make it. I'm thinking of going darker brown. More. I think yours is dark, isn't it?
I don't know, man. I like the kind of slightly lighter tones. Yeah. If you start doing too dark, you'll look like. Well,
Sure.
I'm not safe.
To everyone. While we're at it, I've got the game on side by side. Slight dip.
What game?
Yeah, it's a totally insignificant game. United against City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've had a slight dip before, haven't we?
You know,
you're a master expert on football now. Since you've sussed it out over the last few years.
Yeah.
What's wrong? Is it our defense or is it our midfield?
I'll tell you what's going wrong. Is that passing has been sloppy, right? I mean, the last game against Southampton, unbelievable. The amount of times they lost the ball. They were playing like Man City, Man United, at times. But I don't know. I don't think there's a problem at the front. I think there's an issue, sort of midfield and at the back in defence a little bit. Sometimes they're brilliant, and sometimes they're just not with it. I don't know, lack of concentration or what.
But you know, it's funny though that all the United scum, all those, they actually think they're going to do something this year.
But you know what's interesting is this is a really terrible season for Liverpool in terms of performance. Some of it of their own making, and it's a really good season for other teams. And they're just about, that's the difference between the two teams. A really poor season for Liverpool and a really good season for other people, and they're about the same.
Agreed. Anyhow, Bismillah, let's get into some discussion, some real stuff. You're right off the cloud, we are missing Diego. Tell you anything strange? Okay, Dr. Javid, Hanif is speaking to you here when he says Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We know that the vaccine has been declared as halal to take by numerous youth, but is the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine halal to take? Do you know any details on it? Just to let you know, just to let everybody know, and this is to make Dr. Javid happy. I'm going to be taking mine on Friday.
Mashallah.
I might do a live public vaccination.
yeah, like Shaykh Abdullah bin Bayer. Yeah.
Oh, did he do it that way?
Yeah, like photos and everything.
Yeah. No, I'm putting mine done on Friday.
The Oxford one, I think that's got pork gelatin in that. That's the one that's got pork gelatin in it.
Okay.
I think, but I'm not 100% sure. The Pfizer one doesn't. Yeah, the Pfizer one's fine. But the Oxford one's just been rolled out, so I don't know much in terms of details. If it does have gelatin in it, then that's a problem, particularly since you've got other options. The only problem is, I think vaccine might become more popular because it's easier to store. You don't have to store it at some crazy, temperature, like the Pfizer one. So, wallahu alam.
Allah. There's your answer. But I'm getting my vaccine done on Friday, inshallah.
How did you get yours done? I phoned and I couldn't get one.
No, what's his name? Abdullah Quilliam Masjid.
Yeah.
One of the committee members there. He's actually he's a GP up in Liverpool, so he's actually doing the vaccination program.
Right.
So what are we looking at today, Bismillah? What are we looking at?
Okay, let's start off with some sensible questions. Christmas celebrations at work and the whole argument of if you don't attend, then you'll lose your job or promotion. That's an deep question.
That's just downright daft. That is. Muslims should have some fiqh. Should have some...
Why would you want to work for someone who would just fire you because you didn't come to Christmas do?
Honestly,
get fired.
That's just a weakness in faith. That is nothing more than that's not even a legal issue, though. People just need to have some type of...
That's Canadians for you. It's Canadians.
Canadians, yeah. And if your faith is so weak that that's what concerns you, then it doesn't really matter. I don't look for fatwa, just accept that you're weak.
Yeah. Muhammad Tawheed wants to know how you are. He's fine, Muhammad Tawheed. He's fine. Do you know what I mean?
Hey, hold on, he's asking me, not you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the guy's just been chilling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have been chilling.
Sure.
Chilling.
It's me that's got tired eyes and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
I've seen it kicking off in America at the moment.
Yeah. Crazy people.
Bunch of jokers there. So yeah, what other questions do we have a look at?
What are the fard? Oh, this is a good one. Shadi question. What are the fard in actually getting married? As in, I'm assuming this is what are the necessary elements for you to be married, basically.
Find a woman. That's the first thing.
Yeah. Or a man if you're a woman.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
Yeah, just to be clear, if you're a man, just make sure you get married to a woman. Because mashallah, there's possibilities on that nowadays. Then after that, that's a very open statement. That is, what are the fards of getting married? So, getting married is fairly straightforward. You just need a guy, a woman, or her representative, ijab and qabul, and that's it. So, I've married you, I've accepted, and you're done. That's the fard of it. Then after that, there's loads of sunnahs connected to it. But that's the minimum requirement for a marriage. No.
Yeah.
Do you want to add to that? Anything else?
No. Okay, so we've got one from Sister Shabana who's asking, when we recite Baqiyat as-Salihat 4 times to replace the Sajda Tilawa in Quran Khatam, do we have to make that Sajda up later, or is it wajib to do so?
That's a practice of Tareem, that is. That's not Hanafi madhab. In the Hanafi madhab, they'll state that in place of the Sajda Tilawa, if you're not able to read it, you read Sami'na wa ata'na ghufranaka rabbana wa ilayka al-masir, and then yes, it remains wajib. Whether you read this or that, it remains wajib. It doesn't drop the wujub. Allahu a'lam.
Okay, when same question, when an individual visits the parents' graves on Friday, they are written as obedient to their parents. Is this for both males and females? Are both genders rewarded?
Both, yes, both genders. So yes, so just to clarify for everybody that there's a narration that mentions that anybody who visits the grave of their parents on a Friday or weekly, um, um, who are not dutiful and obedient towards their parents while they're alive, they'll be recorded as being obedient and dutiful towards them. So that kind of retrospectively makes up the wrong that a person did towards his parents after they've passed away. So yeah, that applies to both genders. There's no reason that should be viewed as limited just to males. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay. So a few more vaccine questions.
There was a comment there. Let me just. What made you change your mind? I don't think I have changed my mind. Um, I've never been like anti-vaccine. I've always had concerns about it. But I'll tell you one thing that really pushed it over for me. Sheikh Haroon, his comments on it, because he's actually researched it properly. He's conducted people with medical background. He's not acting like a few people are just based on conspiracies. They're just reacting. So that more than anything else, like kind of pushed it over for me. But I've never been like vehemently against it. I've always had concerns about it, and I've always said that I try and avoid it. But I don't see any reason to do so now.
Is it something that you think people should sort of actively seek out? Should they contact their GP or people that they know?
Yeah, take the standard medical advice. So yeah, like for example, one of the doctors here nearby, like after I got the virus, so I was under the impression that because I caught it last week, so I'm kind of immune now. But he said family members around need some type of protection, particularly your mother. So he was really insisting that my mother and the elder generation should have. Wallahu
I've got to ask this question because this is cracking me up. Adib, it comes from Adib. Is there any surprise?
a'lam.
So why is eating at a place where waitresses dress provocatively impermissible, but dining in a restaurant that serves alcohol permitted as long as the alcohol is not on the table?
Um,
These are real world issues for Adib.
he sent me a message this afternoon about that. So I said, no, you shouldn't go to a restaurant where women are dressed provocatively. What's the illah? That was his answer. What's the illah? Adib, behave yourself. Well, that's all I'm saying. There is a difference between alcohol and a provocatively dressed woman. The effect is a lot more in your face, quite literally in your face. Sat at a table where there's no alcohol, where other tables are, the effect of it's minimal. Whereas that woman, she's actually in your face. So Allah, I think there is a difference between the two. قياس مع الفارق. Allah.
Okay, so how can those in the Dawah scene and students of knowledge understand the society and the people and how to relate to them?
Dr. Javed, you were in the Dawah scene in the 90s, stood at the tables in town centre. Can you explain to me what is a Dawah scene? What is the Dawah scene?
Where generally ignorant people try to represent the religion, basically, and it's a problem. It's a problem because you don't know. I mean, we were giving people books and saying things which, frankly, weren't correct. Luckily, other people had even less knowledge, so nobody noticed that much, right? But it's only but in terms of I kind of follow some debates of what I would call serious atheists. Now, I don't mean Dawkins style, but I mean very, very serious atheists. They're sincere. They want to discuss the issue. They're not there to score points. And people from other faiths and see what they're saying, and Muslims. And it just seems that a lot of people who think that discussing is there a God is a really simple matter. It is simple for some people, but it's not simple for a lot of people. And the kind of way they take the debates is a very it is very difficult to kind of give sort of logical responses all the time, right? You see people getting into fallacies all the time, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
What was the original point there? So the point was, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
How can you understand the people you're talking to and sort of relate to them? Do you need to? I mean, that's another question. Do you even need to relate to them in a sense?
See, that's, yeah.
Because you've got people like Habib Umar, Habib Kazim, and they don't speak the language. They don't, you know.
Yeah. And I think that the issue is that people do have the impression that you need to know the people and you need to come down to the level of people rather than the other way around, which is the likes of these mashaykh, where instead of coming down to the level of people, they're trying to pull people up to their standard. Yet at the same time, it is mentioned in books of Fatawi. They said that the true mufti is the one أعرف الناس بأحوال الناس. A true scholar who can guide people is the one who knows best the states of people. Allahu A'lam.
Okay, here's a difficult one. How can a wife approach a husband who is so engrossed in his spiritual path and has no time for his wife?
Since that's you, do you want to answer it?
You know what? Initially, I was thinking, is this a setup? Then I realized that I would never be accused of being engrossed in the spiritual path. So then I felt safe to read it out. But I don't know. I mean, it'd be good to hear your thoughts on that.
He needs to be advised. You have examples of that. Like what comes to mind is the likes of Sayyidina Abu Darda, radiallahu anhu. Somebody so immersed in worship that Darda goes to the Prophet, and the Prophet reminds him that your body has a right over you, your Lord has a right over you, your family has a right over you. So if it's a genuine concern, it's not just a woman who wants more time from a husband, but it's genuinely that he's not given any time whatsoever for the sake of his worship. Then he needs to be spoken to by somebody who, he's part of a tariqah from that, so by his shaykh, as somebody that he'll take guidance from.
Okay. Salam, this from Sister Aziza. Salam, what does it mean to see a deceased person in your dream, like one of your parents?
I can't answer. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the interpretation of dreams, but what I'll do is I'll try and find an answer for the next session that we have.
Okay. Nikah contrast. So this kind of links to what we mentioned earlier. What's advisable to have in a nikah contract?
Nothing really. Nothing. Nothing. The only thing you can say is that if there's a concern for the woman, she's concerned about something that may happen with the husband, then perhaps to add that into the contract. But even when that comes up, like my thought that comes to mind, if she's got some concerns, why is she even marrying him? Why must she marry him when she has some genuine problem or potential problems that may arise?
Do you not think that in this day and age, just the way we've all become, or and especially the kind of youngsters who are looking to get, sorry, cats in the way.
Oh, what's his name? Hanif.
She's called Mu'azza after the Prophet's cat, Mu'azza. Give us some kind. But this, you don't really have much choice. Is there anyone that you can truly sort of trust? It's very difficult.
What do you mean you don't have any choice? What do you mean?
Meaning everyone that seems to come as a rishta seems to be dodgy. And this may be me. No. This may be me looking at it from the perspective of an uncle, or from the perspective of a dad, or the perspective of, like when it's your turn, you're a little bit more, blasé. But when it's, your nieces or your daughters, I don't know. I mean, I
no. Honestly, I mean, I've seen many cases where, mashallah, it's as good as you get in terms of matches. So those cases are there, especially Yeah, and when it's the problem tends to be when you have somebody who's a couple who are considering marriage who have no knowledge of each other, nobody around them knows each other. That's where it's open for all types of problems. But when it's like family, friends, or an extended where there's already awareness of each other, then it tends not to be a problem. Like when a guy's marrying his sister's best mate, for example, growing up with each other, then generally you tend to know each other. Allah. I want to answer this question. Can someone say the shami shorter beard is better than the longer one and closer to Sunnah today? No. No, you cannot say that. Because An-Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is al-Akmal. He's the perfect being. So even though shorter beard may be a trend, it's more of a trend. Just to add on to that, when I was in Sham, most of the Hanafi ulama, they didn't have the short beard. Especially when you go out to the suburbs, Rawdah and Yisreen, they had the full. They
look like Indo-Pak beards.
Exactly. The Hanafis and the Shafis and others, because it's not a wajib for the Shafis, so you tended to find a lot of shorter beards. But the Hanafi ulama in Sham, pretty much all of them, they had the full beard.
You know, just going back to dreams, you mentioned dreams. Sheikh Ijaz, he's asking if you can, you know, the famous Ibn Sirin book that we all bought at one time or another. Can we use it? Can we use that for interpretation of dreams?
No. There's an ilm, there's a knowledge to it, but then it's also mawhiba. There's also a gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives to some. So you can find some general description, the general meanings, but then after that, you need to ensure that you refer it back to somebody who knows what they're talking about. Allahu A'lam. If that's Ijaz from Liverpool, Jazakallahu khairan. He sent some pizzas this afternoon. So Jazakallahu khairan. Nice pizzas.
Aman Ayub is wondering if you're going to be taking Sheikh Ibrahim along with you for your vaccination.
He's just gone and scored. City have scored.
City, yeah.
Great. No, you know what? He's in a state of denial. He is.
Yeah.
Even though he's got the virus. Even though he has got it, he's still in a state of denial.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to know, this is from Anonymous, I wanted to know why we can't draw pics of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why is it forbidden?
Why, I don't know. I don't know why, but it's pretty much agreed across the ulama that it's forbidden to depict the prophets and prophets generally in picture form. As to the why, I don't know why. But it is pretty much agreed. Allahu A'lam. Where was it? Tayyib. Just one thing. You know, you're at work on the Fridays, so I think I mentioned this before to you that with the Abdullah Quilliam, Ask the Imam show, we try and lighten up with jokes and a bit of banter and humour. We also called it Ask the Smiley Sheikh, I think it was. So we need to lighten the mood here a bit more. Because even though this is nice, mashallah, and relaxed, but but we need to lighten the mood.
This is me lightening it up.
You got to go.
I'm kidding.
No, you got to go lighter.
Okay, in that case, someone's asking if you're allowed lip fillers. I'm assuming they're down as anonymous, but I'm suspecting the Adib again.
Probably.
Lip fillers.
No, you're not. No, you're not allowed that. Adib, you're not allowed lip fillers. Your lips are nice as they are, mate.
Let's add to that Botox as well.
Yes, same. Taghyir khalqillah. It all falls under alteration of the form of the form that Allah subhanahu created the person in. Person is created in ahsan taqweem, the best of all forms. Where there's any type of disfigurements or exceptional circumstances like fire burns and so on, then it's acceptable. But other than that, ahsan taqweem.
I had a Christmas question. Can I ask it?
From yourself or someone else?
No, for myself. Those nasty Christmas jumpers that people wear, are they haram?
The one where you got a guy with a guitar start singing. Tis
like that, right? Like that, you know, with massive snowflakes, and just, you would never wear it at any other time of the year but Christmas. Between Christmas and New Year are the only times you'd wear it.
Mm.
And does it take you out of Islam?
That's more like that's what we like to hear from you.
Yeah, because they're awful, man. And surely they're linked to Christmas.
Well, interestingly, one of the students at Madrasa, it's about 3-4 weeks back, actually asked whether it's allowed to um, sell clothes or other things that are connected to Christmas. And so when I spoke to some of the shuyukh on that, they were categorical that it's haram to sell them. Allah.
Or like a lot of Muslim shops put up Christmas decorations, or they have Christmas discounts.
Yeah, yeah. Or down the lizard's home.
Mm.
Down the lizard's home. I want you to answer this, please, Dr. Sal. So anonymous attendee says, what is the advice to a Muslim who suffer from homosexual desires? How to deal with these? What are you laughing at?
What are you asking me for?
I don't know, Uncle. I don't know. Because I don't want to answer it. That's why. How to deal with these desires, and how should they resist family pressures to marry? That's probably a deep again. So how would you advise?
Where are we? What minute is this? This is what time?
Adib, is that you? 8:54.
8:54. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, is it any different to? I mean, Muslims have lots of desires which are not permissible. The desire to commit adultery, or the desire for to watch things they shouldn't be watching, or the desire to gamble, or the desire to, you know, the whole life of a person. You know, they have to watch themselves, and some people are beset with urges more than others on certain things, and this is one of them for some people. So they have to seek help, you know, find out how they can manage that. It's a hurdle, and it's, you know, we shouldn't make light of how much of a hurdle it is for those people, but it's a big hurdle, and there are people who have managed to manage it, and maybe, you know, marriage is not for them, right? I know some people think that, you know, it's like a cure. Marry them to a girl, and it's a cure. Is that fair on the girl? Is that fair on the boy? Right.
What's interesting on that particular point is that let's say a heterosexual guy who's going out with all types of girls and he's living the worst type of lifestyle. And some people just assume get him married off just to solve the problem. Because the reality is that doesn't solve the problem either.
No. And I think it's a dangerous thing to do that. And, you know, people go through their whole lives dealing with and you know, these challenges and other challenges, and it's not great for whoever's having to do that. But, you know, it's one of those things in Islam. You know, you have to manage as best as you can. But there are some people, I don't know exactly how effective they are in terms of who can give counseling on, and it's not like a cure, but it's all about how do you manage these difficulties that you're facing. And I think they're worth looking into, but I can't vouch for any one of them, you know, because you can only do that by experiencing what they have to say. And, you know, may Allah give, you know, this the questioner tawfiq and make it easy on them, because it's not even easy to ask these questions. But it's an amazing thing that they're kind of looking for an avenue to help them in what they're facing. Shaykh, anything?
No, I'm all good with that. Tell you what else should we look at?
Okay, so we've got, what kind of dream must one have to indicate they are to marry a specific sister?
I have no idea.
I had a dream of the father of the sister. I'm just changing, I'm losing my place.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I had a dream of the father of the sister, and we were talking in the sister's room casually. Does this mean anything,
I have no idea.
or other than the fact that he's thinking about the sister too much?
Could well be that.
Yeah,
We'll look into that question.
yeah. Okay, where do you get nice pizzas from generally? Liverpool's takeout does not compare to Manchester. This is a statement of haqq. It's a fact.
Oh no, I accept them. There's nothing like
Yeah.
Manchester except for Bradford. Manchester's nowhere near Bradford.
Yeah. Nowhere near. No, that's true as well. Manchester's got one or two places, but a lot of them are just more show than substance. Especially the state places, they're awful. Okay, so
Anything else you want to say?
hair transplants, that's very common, especially in Turkey. Are they permissible?
There's a split amongst the ulama over this. And Shaykh Samir al-Nasr, and he's adamant that it's not allowed. He considers that as tagheer khalqillah, altering the form of creation. But I know other Hanafis, like Shaykh Mazin Bakri, he considers it permissible. Maliki scholars like some of the Shanaqita hold the view that it's not tagheer, it's i'adatu khalqillah. It's not altering the form of creation. It's returning it back to its original form. So there
Can
is.
you say that about Botox then?
You could argue that, yeah. So the point is, there's a split on that. There's a split on it. Wallahu a'lam. Have you ever considered having it done?
No, not at all.
So yeah. Okay. Anything else?
I wake up and I'm ready to go. I mean, I don't need a kungi. I don't need anything. And if I did, I'd have to dye it anyway. So what's the point? Yeah, it's too much effort. So yeah, I live vicariously through my kids. I make them grow their hair long.
MashaAllah.
Right. Okay. So here's a term I haven't heard for a while actually. So now this is from Ismail Afzal. He goes, "Is fiqh al-aqalliyat a valid area of fiqh?"
That's true, though. That's true. It was a big point around 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's much died a death now. But you know why? Because people live that way anyway. Everybody's just living what's termed the aqalliyat. Shaykh Sa'id Ramadan al-Bouti rahimahullah ta'ala, he said there are no two shari'ahs. There are no two shari'ahs. There's only one shari'ah. The idea of minority fiqh. Sharia has so many principles. There are so many techniques within it that allows for dispensations in difficult situations. It's inbuilt within Sharia. There's no need to create a whole system and say because you live as a minority, there's a whole different set of rules for you. Allah. So it's mardu. The idea is rejected completely.
We got someone who's trying to make a personal attack on me by saying, "Is whitening teeth artificially via a dentist permissible?" Like, it's not via anyone else, via a dentist specifically. Is it permissible? Anonymous, coward as well. They're not even showing their name.
Who do you suspect it is?
I've got lots of enemies. It could be any one of them, right? I'll hunt them down. Who is it? So what do you reckon?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Is it permissible? What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a resounding yes. Alhamdulillah. See my website for whitening discounts. Laser hair removal. Gosh, there's lots of cosmetics today. Laser hair removal permissible for men on your cheeks to sharpen up the look of your beard rather than threading.
No, don't answer it. Just go and get it. Yeah, no, laser hair removal treatments is fine as well. Allahu Akbar. Come here, you.
Sheikh Musa, mashallah.
His Uncle Jack.
Oh, Christmas question.
Hold on.
Christmas socks in the winter. Wear Christmas. I wear Christmas socks in the winter because they keep my feet warm. Is this okay?
What's Christmas socks? What are they? Just like thick woolly socks? Got Christmas decorations on them?
Yeah, Christmas decorations, snowflakes, jingle bells, that kind of thing.
Easy. I don't know what he's about. But why would you have to buy those? There's so many different thick woolly socks that you could buy, but you have to go and buy Christmas socks.
Yeah.
So no. Be a Muslim. Alhamdulillah. Be a Muslim.
So this is another marriage question. I've not heard this myself. Maybe you do lots of drive-through marriages, so maybe you know. On the subject of marriages, there seems to be a growing trend of young men to insist that their wives must work. This is like totally opposite of when I grew up. It's like women wanted to work and guys were reluctant. Now it's like, apparently it seems to be men insisting that their wives must work. What is the Islamic view?
Islamic views that he needs to become a man. Just man up, will you? Just recognize that you're the one who's responsible to provide for her. That's more to do with lifestyle. You need to have two incomes for the sake of the mortgage and for the sake of the extra car and all stuff like that. That's what lifestyle choice. Just man up and be a man. It's your responsibility to provide.
Okay, I've got to ask this a deep question.
Which one's
Due
that?
to a sex change, are we obliged to refer to the person with the new gender pronoun as a form of hukuk of the ibad?
No, we're not. Because in Sharia, we consider that person to be on his original gender. There is no such thing as a change in gender.
So we still have to refer to Adib as a he, right?
I'm not sure what he is. Adib's a knit.
Knit.
No, not a knit. Not a knit. He's an it.
Okay. Aqiqah question. Permissible, mubah. The aqiqah entails shaving the head of a newborn, carrying out a slaughter. The aqiqah is not done for a boy or a girl with us. And with the Shafis, the aqiqah is sunnah.
That's right.
Yeah. Hang on, they're quoting from, but that is, why are they asking a question?
Exactly. Yeah, so yeah, no, so Musa, don't do that.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's correct. Correct. So one view in the madhab says it's jaiz, the other view says it's makruh. Even though it's common, even amongst Hanifis, Asian subcontinent Hanifis, that aqiqah is sunnah. In the madhab, it's not sunnah. In the madhab, it's considered mubah or makruh. And as the quote mentions, I think it's from Sayyidina Aisha, the al-udhiyah. Before the udhiyah, the qurbani, there used to be what was called al-rajabiyya, wal-atira, and wal-aqiqah. They were three sacrifices that were done before Islam. And she said they were all abrogated by the aqiqah. Allahu Akbar.
So Sister Lubna Quraysh, she's asking, can we say Merry Christmas and give gifts to our Christian friends? And before you answer, I'd like to advise you as your special counsel that you're being recorded.
Thank you very much for that. The general view is always that it's forbidden to do so. But there are quite prominent ulama now who are saying it's allowed because there were views that allowed it, even though those views were minority views, and because they considered that they were living in a different cultural environment. So there are prominent ulama now who are saying it's permitted. The general view historically, the ulama, is that it's forbidden to do so.
So, eye treatment, laser eye treatment, is that permissible?
Yes, it is. That's a correction. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, so Previously asked questions regarding watching free live streams online, benefiting from free PDFs of books
Has he come back on again?
Sorry?
Is that Hassan Khalid?
No, this is anonymous, yeah. I know you're working day and night to get this answer, but
I'm not. And I've actually spoken to him about it and told him to stop asking me. And he's still.
um, okay, so this is Sister Aisha. I've newly set up making gifts and hampers for customers, Muslims, non-Muslims. What's the position of adding scratch cards into the hampers for non-Muslims?
I don't see an issue with that. Allah, I don't see that as a problem. Allah.
Okay. Wills, how do we write one Islamically?
Find like a Muslim solicitor or a law firm that deals with wills. They're fairly straightforward. The most important thing within a will is that you state there that when you die, that you want your wealth to be distributed according to Islamic rules. That's the most important part.
Okay, so we're always told that intimacy between husband and wife is a form of worship, but is there such a thing as being too much? Should a husband and wife relations also follow the wisdom of everything is in balance?
What do you think on that one? I'll give you that one.
I think that's really directed at yourself, but
no, it's not.
So yeah, I mean, yes, anything can be excessive, I guess. But what do you reckon? You know, like it's not worship as in prayer. It's not worship as in reading Quran. It's not that kind of worship, right? So you know, it's not like saying, oh, I'm doing lots of dhikr, I'm doing lots of Quran, I'm doing lots of prayer. It's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't spend all your time doing that.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
What? You got to add to it.
Oh no, I've got nothing more to say. I'm satisfied with your answer.
Yeah. I'm only saying that on the basis of your teaching over the years on these topics. Okay, so this is a Quran question. Sister Navida Qadi is asking, in Surah Yusuf, you elaborate on the grief of Yaqub alayhi salam for his son and his loss of sight. I don't mean disrespect, I'm just trying to understand, couldn't this grief be considered excessive, which would be unbefitting for a prophet?
It wasn't excessive because he himself said, "Innama ashku bathi wa hazni ila Allah." I present my grief to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it wasn't excessive. All of it was between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's ultimately human emotions. Prophets are created with human emotions. The same as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when his son Ibrahim radiallahu, when his son Ibrahim radiallahu anhu, when he passed away, he showed tears of grief, of human grief. So that's what they were experiencing in that case. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay. Is it permissible to lie in a job interview?
Potentially, yeah. Possibly. Depends, but possibly, yeah.
What do you mean by possibly? Like, can you give an example?
And if that person, for example, does not have the qualifications, doesn't meet the requirements and so on, then he lies to get a job, then no, then he shouldn't lie in that case because he's just not suited, he's not worthy of having that job. But if he's worthy of having that job, he meets the requirements, he's struggling to find a job, he's struggling with money and so on. So then it becomes a necessity for him to try and find some form of income. in that case, then perhaps yes.
Okay, so taking pictures, haram or halal?
Taking pictures, meaning photos. Originally, most of the ulama held it as being haram, and that's still the view with a significant number of ulama. But the more prevalent view amongst ulama now seems, particularly in the Middle East, seems to be that it's allowed.
Okay, is it wrong to call shuyukh, awliya, or walis, as we are speaking on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
You answer that, please. I'm asking you to answer because I need to sort these two out somehow.
Yeah, we need your answer because I'm, not really qualified to say. I think, generally people say it out of a kind of esteem and respect and having the best opinion of scholars. I won't say it's wrong, to assume that someone is good, but it might not be factually correct. And there's a wilaya, there's a general wilaya for all believers. Anyone who has, believes that there's no God except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the Prophet is his messenger. That, iman, that belief that you have gives you automatically a type of general wilaya anyway, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wouldn't give you that guidance if there wasn't something about you, right? But yeah, I understand what the question is saying. Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. The key thing there is that when you're saying that someone's a wali min awliya Allah, we don't have certainty of anybody after the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after the Sahaba, and after those that are confirmed. So this is husn al-dhan. This is about having a good opinion of people who outwardly have a rank with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The inner realities of people is something very different.
So, okay, would you advise working in a fertility clinic, a female nurse working in the fertility clinic?
Yeah, Allah, I don't see that there's any problem with that. Go on. It's water's boiling.
Okay. Okay, there's a lot of arguments and disagreements within the household. What's the best way to deal with it?
I have no idea. You help out on that one because you're an expert on this.
It's too general, to be honest. You'd have to understand. Yeah, without knowing the family, without knowing what the arguments is about, without knowing. Sometimes it's just better just to be quiet and not get involved. Sometimes it's better to put your foot down. But wallahu alam.
In terms of spiritual answer to that, get into a habit of reading Quran together in the household, or at least that the Quran is recited in the household. That brings a lot of peace in the home.
La la
So,
la.
sunnah food dhikr that can help boost memory. Any tips on that?
Yeah, just stop committing sins. Stop committing sins. It does affect. What is it? وأخبرني بأن العلم نور ونور الله لا يهدى للعاصي. When Imam Shafi struggled to memorize, he was advised by Waqi' to stop committing sins. His teacher Waqi' told him to stop committing sins.
What did you say?
Mm-hmm.
What did you say?
Someone's asking if you're going to do another Jummah in Accrington.
Oh, is that Accrington boys?
Khatib.
His
name's Khatib, and he's asking you
exactly
to do.
Exactly my point. But tell him I'm not a Brelvi, so I don't know how that helps. Ya Habibi, Ya Muhammad. You're putting your kids into the picture now.
Yeah. They've been looking for fame and fortune. Well, I'm going to take him out in a second.
All right, you go sit down back there and let him take over.
What else have we got? Anything that catches your eye, Shaykh?
Oh, there's lots of things that catch the eye. Okay, let's go to this one. What is the fiqh ruling on blowing and praying over food? This is in the context of dhikrs or khatam. As the dua is made, the person needing dua will pray and then blow over the food and drink. Water and milk is then passed and often eaten and drank by those present. The reason I ask is this is often common practice in my family. Someone recently told that it's bid'ah and shirk. Ya Latif. Oof. What's the ruling? If permissible, is a spiritual benefit? Definite benefits. It's practiced in some parts of the Muslim world. There's khair within it. There's good within it. At the most, you can say that it's not from the Sunnah. You could say that. But then to go up to a level of saying bid'ah and shirk, that's a bit extreme, that is. Spiritual benefits, absolutely. You're reading Quran and you're reading dua of Khatam Quran and then blowing onto that food and drink. So there's definitely going to be blessings from that, without a shadow of doubt.
What would you advise the husband? Following marriage, he states that he was reluctant to get married in the first place, therefore the wife shouldn't expect anything.
Shouldn't expect anything from him. That's not nice. He's now married to her, so be responsible, fulfill his duty towards her. No.
Yeah, some strange people. It's is it prohibited to buy shares in a company in debt or a company that has loans taken out?
Yeah, it is permissible. Yeah.
Okay, so what about this? Is a very unfortunate situation. As a son to an abusive father, does he, the father, have the same rights over the son as a non-abusive father?
Same rights in terms of respect. Yeah, you should always try and be cordial and beautiful wherever possible. But if he's not able to get past all the abuse that took place, and he's not able to build up or rebuild a normal relationship, then there's no harm in him keeping a distance. But in terms of being respectful and honorable towards him, that remains.
Okay. Back to photos and issues relating to photos. If we're cleaning the family home, we move a photograph that's hung up in the house and put it back. Are we then responsible for the angels not coming into the house because we were the last person to touch the photo? But we're not allowed to remove it because it is the in-laws' home.
It doesn't really matter there. The key issue there is that you don't have control over that because it's not your home. So inshallah ta'ala, you're not directly responsible, but it doesn't change the fact that it prevents angels from entering. That's more about shifting the blame. It wasn't me who did it, so therefore, Allah.
Okay, we've got a fancy question here. How is a commentary of Nafi al-Kabir, Sharh al-Jami al-Saghir of Imam Abdul Hayy Laknawi?
I haven't looked at that in a long time. But it's just, from what I remember, it's ta'liqat, it's just little notes there. There's nothing significant in there, but still it's useful. But I haven't looked at it in a long time.
What's the deal with Jum'ah under the current lockdown circumstances? Is it permissible to miss it without a valid reason? Like, there's not enough space in the mosques or tickets are sold out.
Yeah, no, it's valid to miss it now. Yeah, these are exceptional circumstances. So yeah.
Okay. Du'as, I don't know whether you might have had this before. Any du'as to help with getting pregnant?
Yes, yeah, we have mentioned this before. The dua of Zakaria alayhi salam, Rabbi la tazarni fardan wa anta khayrul warithin. That comes in Surah Al-Anbiya, and also Rabbi habli min ladunka dhurriyatan tayyibah innaka sami'ud du'a. That comes in Surah Ali Imran. I don't know if you want to find the rest. Somebody find the references to those and share them.
Right. So, wife requests her own space. We have 2 children and still living with the in-laws in essentially one room.
It'll be good for them if you can provide that. Hey, second goal. City have scored again.
Right. Okay, so as Salam is Shaykh Asrar Rashid in Birmingham, good to listen to. Please answer my question last time. You know what? That was my fault. That wasn't Shaykh Haroon. Because you know, there's a lot of questions about, can you comment on this person? Can you comment on that person? And generally speaking, you know, there's a lot of other things we could be spending our time doing than saying something to confirm someone or to cancel someone. You know, and you know, then if it's not this week, it's Sheikh Asrar Rashid. Next week it's someone else, and next week it's someone else.
Sheikh Javed Khan.
Yeah, well, they can cancel me anytime. You know, I've got other things to do as well. But no, it's just.
Answer that then. Let me just quickly answer that one. Sheikh Asrar Rashid, mashallah, he's a good learned scholar. I actually studied with some of the same teachers in Damascus, and in fact, I'm forever grateful to him, because my main teacher there was Sheikh Muhammad al-Jum'ah, and he was the one who connected me to him. So mashallah, he opened up a massive door for me. He does have some harsh views. And perhaps he says certain things in the heat of the moment. For example, last week or the week before, when he made a comment about Amir Khan, instead of just saying Muhammad Salah and Amir Khan are not religious authorities, and whether they have a Christmas tree or not doesn't really affect the discussion, but then to make a comment about having a glass chin, that became over personal, and that was unnecessary. But that perhaps was said just in the heat of the moment. So other than that, mashallah, he's a learned scholar. He's a learned scholar, mashallah.
So is a common question actually about marrying outside of Ahl Sunnah.
It's permissible, because you can even marry outside of Deen. You can marry a Jew or a Christian. It's permissible, but it's considered makruh tahrim. It is allowed, but it's best avoided.
What do you mean by, like, you know, for instance, there are people who are Ahl Sunnah in the sense that they're very aware of what we mean by Ahl Sunnah. They're aware of Aqidah, they're aware of these things, they've studied it with teachers. Their teachers are considered from Ahl Sunnah. But then there's other people who've not had the maybe opportunity or the fortune, and they just kind of default Muslim. So they're not active, you know, actively part of a group that's outside Ahl Sunnah, but they just kind of take everything and they say subhanallah to everything. So Zakir Naik video, subhanallah, Mufti Menk video, subhanallah, Shaykh Haroon video, subhanallah.
Subhanallah there, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
But do you know what I mean? It's like everything's good with them. They don't they don't discriminate. You know, I mean, is that considered makruh? Because that sounds
No.
That's like a lot of people.
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about somebody who's firm in his deviant aqidah.
Yeah.
And who's
so like Adib.
Like Adib, yeah. And who's likely to affect others. Yeah.
So we've got people trying to send salams to Musa from Muhammad.
You say you got salams from somebody here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look.
That's
good.
Not dreaming, is that normal from a spiritual point of view?
It's not always considered a good sign, but it's not necessarily bad.
Yeah. Can Hanafis take a rukhsa in order to read the nafil of hifz if they do not know the surah? How?
What would you answer to that? Are you flexible with taking rukhsas?
I think in this sort of situation, it's not really a,
You're a bit too flexible, aren't you?
yeah, it's not, what harm would it do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But generally, yeah, so Dua Hifz al-Quran, for those who are unaware, is it's a prayer of 4 rak'ahs that's prayed on 3 consecutive Jum'ahs, in which 4 surahs are recited, and they're fairly long, like Surah Yasin, Surah Dukhan, Surah Alif Lam Mim Sajda. So often those who want to do Hifz al-Quran haven't memorized those surahs. So then they'll ask, can we take the rukhsa and hold a mushaf? So although that's against the madhab, but as Sheikh Javed mentioned, there's no harm in taking that. Is that worse or giving fatwa that prawns are okay?
Prawns, you don't need a fatwa that prawns are okay. They are okay, right? Stop trying to cause trouble. Yeah. You're just being shellfish. Yeah.
Boom, boom. That's good now. That's good. We need a bit of
Okay.
like
Here's a good one. At what age should a baby or young child be out of their parents' bedroom at night? Kids, listen up.
once they're conscious and aware.
Yeah.
So there's no set age. A very young child, like 1, 2 years old, that's fine. But once they become aware of the surroundings and aware of what's going on, then they should not be allowed in the privacy of the parents' room.
Here's an important question. Disability in children, is it a form of punishment like Down syndrome or autism?
It's ibtila for the parents. It's not necessarily punishment. It's ibtila. It's a test. It's the test for the parents, for them to be patient. Imam al-Jawaini, Imam al-Haramain, that's what he mentioned. He said every pain or suffering that a child goes through is sins being lifted from the parents.
Do you say Alhamdulillah when you sneeze in prayer?
What's the answer, Sheikh Sam?
No.
What if they did? Would it invalidate the prayer?
No, it wouldn't.
Okay, mashallah, spot on. You are a faqih.
No, I had a 50-50 chance is what I had.
Yeah, that's the answer. It's not sunnah to say Alhamdulillah, but if you did, you wouldn't invalidate your prayer. However, if you heard somebody else saying Alhamdulillah and you said Yarhamkallah as an answer, then you would invalidate your prayer.
This is from Sister Lubna Qureshi. Our relative had Christmas tree and had a table set as Christmas dinner. Is it allowed?
I know Sister Lubna, and my assumption here is that the relative here is a Muslim, so then categorically not. If that was a convert family where there was some, then there's leeway, but a Muslim family, categorically not.
It's strange, like you read through Sirah and sometimes you think, how on earth did the people who are guided suddenly become idol worshippers and suddenly, take it as part of, these customary practices, take it on board so strongly. Now we see these things happening every, generation. It's getting worse and worse. And Muslims now becoming very almost aggressive, if you challenge them on celebrating Christmas.
Yeah.
The nearest we got to was having chicken Christmas. That famous Christmas dinner. Okay, so Asjid Mahmoud, Shaykh Asjid Mahmoud is saying, Salam, in my family we have 2 people with cancer, both young. Please, can you make dua? And is there a particular dua we should be making?
Just the one that we always advise is to read Ayat al-Shifa, read the 6 verses of Shifa, read it over them, and read it in whatever they eat or drink. Read Ayat al-Shifa regularly.
What is the Hanafi method of praying witr? In fact, before you answer that, how many ways are they recorded of doing witr?
I remember a long time back reading somewhere, Ibn Hazm, he said there's more than 50 different ways that.
50?
Yeah, more
than 50. I thought it was about 11 or something.
Ibn Hazm, I remember saying more than 50 ways.
Subhanallah.
The Hanafis, it's the same as the Maghrib prayer, in that you add the third rak'ah on, but the difference being that you read the surah after the Fatiha, and then you read the ruku'.
Okay. But can I ask about, like, for instance, if you don't know dua qunut,
Yeah.
being Indian, right, we were told just read Qul Huwallahu Ahad 3 times.
See,
Right.
yeah, I'm still trying to get to the bottom of that. Where does that come from?
My mom told me. Yeah. And she probably told everyone else.
Yeah, no, because a lot of students at madrasa mention this, but what are you blaming your mum for?
No, I'm not blaming. I'm saying that's the advice she gave. Best thing that she knew at the time. But no, I mean it is common. It is common.
It's very common and it's incorrect. If you're unable, so when we say dua qanut just means any dua from the Quran or the Sunnah. So when you say I can't read any dua, yes you can. Say Allahumma ghfirli. That's all you need to say. Any dua from Quran and Sunnah is enough. The famous Allahumma inna nasta'inuka, that's the preferred, that's the most rewarded way of reading it. But dua qanut is not replaced by Quran, and that's the problem. You could read any dua from the Quran and you fulfilled it. But then to start reading Qul Huwallahu Ahad as a substitute, it's not a substitute. Allahu A'lam. That's interestingly why. Sorry, Afwan, just one additional detail. So that's the reason why you have the takbir for qunut, because you're changing from reading Quran to making dua. That's the reason why there's normally takbir is lil intiqal. You're changing position. Here, there's no change of position. It's a change of what's being read from Quran to dua. Allahu A'lam.
Adib is saying lobsters and crabs are amazing. That's disgusting. Adib, keep this. This is a family show. Right? I don't want to hear about you and your lobsters and crabs.
Crab. Adib, you are a crab.
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum. Is this a good translation? Is Quran al-Kareem word for word translation, color coded, tajweed, Arabic, English, in brackets, Maqdis? I'm not come across that myself. Translation is by Muhsin Khan, one of your favorite, and approved by the Department of Islamic Development of Malaysia and Malaysian Ministry of Home Affairs.
Muhsin Khan, the Saudi one.
Yeah, yeah.
Not the Salam one.
He's
the engineer, isn't he?
I
Thought he was an engineer. Didn't realize he was a scholar.
don't know what it was, to be honest. I just know it from.
So what do you say? This was for those listening. Back in the 90s, this was the main translation. It was the most popular translation that there was. The Salafi translation by Muhsin Khan. What say you?
It depends what you want. If it's translation you want, there's definitely better translations. And this is going by what other people have told me, because the kind of level of Arabic you need to translate Quran is quite high. We definitely come across some things in translations, certain ayahs where you're thinking, is that the best way to translate it? But there's a new one. You mentioned it last time, and I've heard about it. The clear translation?
The clear Quran, I think, Dr.
Yeah, the clear Quran is a very new translation.
The one, the clear Quran.
But it's getting it's getting a lot of love and respect from people.
No, I'm really impressed by it, mashallah. I'm really impressed.
But previous to that was Dr. Abdul Halim. He's got a good one.
Still, mashallah, it's still an excellent translation.
Yeah.
But just on this Muhsin Khan's, for those who do touch it, just don't touch it. It's not. It's more an issue of aqeedah. What I remember from that translation, there was always these brackets in there, adding details in there, which was aqeedah points, and that's where the problem was with him. Translation itself wasn't all that. It wasn't all that. It was pretty poor, but it was the aqeedah points that kept on getting inserted.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I remember with is it Ibn Kathir's translation? I'm sure there's one of them. I think it's Ibn Kathir's, the Salafi translation of that. And in the forward, the guy, whoever translated it, goes, "I've omitted some of the things that Ibn Kathir put in, simply for the sake of information. Well, that's the point of putting things in. Like it's for the sake of, ridiculous things for the sake of information.
Yeah.
Why bother doing the work then if you think it's like that? Anyway, class. It's what have we got? Will children with disabilities intercede for their parents in Akhirah? I think it says Algiers, but I'm sure it's Akhirah, just like young children who passed away.
I don't think so. Allah. As far as I'm aware, it's only young children who passed away. Allah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything catching your eye? Is it obligatory for us to wake our spouses up for Fajr? I want to know this as well. Is it obligatory for us to wake our spouses up for Fajr? What if we know they won't wake up? If we, if we don't wake them up, can we leave them?
Even then, it's obligatory for the husband to wake her up.
No, but what about the other way around? What if I'm sleeping?
Well, it's still obligatory, but it's not the same degree because the man has the duty towards his wife.
Yeah, and like children.
Sorry.
What about children? Like, is there an age at which we can just say, it's up to you?
Even with adult children, they're still your children. You still have a duty towards them.
Can you celebrate your birthday?
Yeah, yes, you can. Again, I mean, there are different views on that, but yes, you can.
Yeah. What if it's your Islamic birthday? That's obviously not copying, is it?
It's pretty much the same. It's Kamal. That's Kamal.
Shaykh, can I dye my beard brown too? They're asking your ijazah.
Who's asking that?
I don't know. Anonymous. These guys are cowards, right? So they're asking ijazah. They want like a musalsal sanad.
Anyway, yeah, it is mentioned that it's recommended to dye you. If you got white hairs, it's recommended to dye. So take the advice of the Prophet. Let's take a couple of more questions because I'm conscious of time now.
Yeah, okay. Can Hanifi put transliteration du'as in the bathroom?
No. No.
Okay, what about hormone replacement, HRT? Can postmenopausal women take hormone replacement therapy to increase the libido if the husband wants her to?
I don't want to answer that because I've got my daughter sat here with me. And also, more importantly, I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
So inshallah, I'll look into that. I just want to jump in there. Yeah. Can we exclude someone from our will if they've been abusive? No. Your will has been set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So no.
Okay. Is it any color but black? I think this is about dyeing your beard.
Yeah. Go blonde.
Yeah.
Copper or blonde.
What about non-natural colors like blue and red? Oh, well, actually, red is kind of.
No, for men, no. For men, that's for women can have it any color.
Yeah. Organ donations. What's the ruling?
Our teacher Shaykh Haroon, and he gave his fatwa generally is that it's forbidden except for if it's saving the life of a Muslim. There are other ulama, including the likes of Shaykh Nuruddin Attar, rahimahullah ta'ala, who gave fatwa that it's allowed in all cases. Allah.
Okay. What do you say to a child who asks where Allah is and what does Allah look like?
You just smack him.
Is that right?
Isn't that right, Fatima? You smack.
Yeah.
Well, what's the answer? That's the last question. So what's the answer?
Just give him some sweets and tell him to enjoy it.
Yeah, just give him some sweets and tell him to go.
Yeah. So,
where is Allah?
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. We'll go with that.
So we have tons of questions we didn't get through. So apologies to anyone who we didn't get through.
Let's-
Try come next time and ask.
Let's do this again next week.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll do another
Okay.
session next week.
I might touch up my beard then. Inshallah. طيب.
Mr. Rawdah, can we put the poster up? So just quickly to mention here that the brothers from Rawdah, they're going to be having an online Tajweed course taught by, mashallah, he's down here as Hamza al-Haq. His actual name is Hamza Yusuf. He's a student of madrasa. So Shaykh Hamza Yusuf will be teaching Tajweed online. So please join this from a text known as Tuhfatul Atfal, which is a beginner's introductory text into into the rules of Tajweed, which is one of the essential knowledges that all Muslims should know. وجزاكم الله خيرا والحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته جميعا.